I'm often meeting people these days and they say, oh, I'm spiritual but I'm not religious. Well, I can understand that. I think so much of the way the church and organised religion has presented itself is objectionable. I find it objectionable. No wonder other people find it objectionable. I have a commitment to it. I have a vested interest in making sure it succeeds. But I do find a lot of the way the church speaks, and I'm speaking of the Catholic Church here, not terribly encouraging or positive or appreciative or affirmative. Religion, I think, is best thought of as spirituality concretized, living relationships incarnated. Religion is about our relationship with God, with ourselves, with other people, with the world at large. If you were to go into a Catholic Mass, or if you were to go into a mosque and see the Muslims praying, or go into a Jewish synagogue, or go into a Hindu temple, you would find relationships all over the place. People relating with one another in different ways, with God, however they name God, with themselves, and with the world at large. So religion has different ways of symbolizing, articulating, ritualizing, structuring relationships. That's all religion is. When I say that's all religion is, that's a highly complex thing actually, and we all do it very differently. But within the Catholic tradition, we have our own particular ways of doing that, and you will find in a hospital, for example, a priest may come in and will take olive oil, consecrated olive oil by the bishop, and anoint somebody on the forehead. It's a sacred gesture. It implies relatedness with that person, with the community to which that person belongs, with God, and the whole sense of the more than. It is a very respectful moment, and if you ever are present for that, it's quite beautiful, especially if the family is there and someone's dying, because there's a sense of continuity in all this. The more than is not a separate place, it's a continuous state of being with that which we already experience. So spirituality leads naturally into religion. Spirituality without religion, I think, is truncated. Religion without spirituality is dangerous. It's soulless. And in fact, a lot of what I find and others find objectionable about church and organised religion is simply it's lost its roots in spirituality. When it does that, it becomes an ideology, a religious ideology. And religious ideologies are never far from sectarianism, bigotry, and all manner of violence in the name of God, of course. And it's an excuse to hurt people, to fail to respect differences. The only way, constructively it seems to me, that you can live creatively with differences is through love. It's through that basic paradigm that's evident in a man and a woman when they get married and they love each other. They love each other into freedom. That's what it is about. If you wanted a rule of thumb or a little thumbnail sketch of biblical moral vision, I would say it like this. What the Bible offers us is the vision, and I think this is at the heart of the Catholic culture. What the Bible offers us is a vision whereby we have been loved into freedom. Now you go into the world so that God may love others into freedom through you. In a very real sense, I can't love anybody into freedom. I can participate in the love of God that is everywhere, and God can love others into freedom, so that I become the place where God enters the world. And that is important, I think, in our Catholic sense of spirituality, that the more than we relate with is a personal God, one we call Abba, dear Father, who longs to be with us wherever we are, whatever circumstances we find ourselves in, and to enter the world. Meister Eckhart, the great Dominican spiritual guide of the 14th century, says, get out of the way and let God be God in you. Isn't that a beautiful way of understanding it? It's not about me doing things. In a sense, when I talk about relating with other people, it's about awakening to the connections that are there and letting God be God amongst us. Letting love be love. Letting compassion be compassion. Letting care be care. Letting forgiveness be forgiveness. These are other names for God. The third definition concerns mysticism. Now, the word is used in a terrible misrepresentative way so much in the popular press. It generally means arcane or weird or hidden or magical. Mysticism, if you look at the tradition, and not only our Catholic tradition but other traditions, at the heart of mysticism is the sense, the experience of unity. Mystical experience is knowing you are one with the one. And when the mystic, and we're all called to be mystics, believers and unbelievers alike are all called to experience that oneness, that unity. I look at these kids out the back of the waves on their surfboards. I think there is a very real mystical experience in the sense they experience themselves at one with the ocean, with their mates, with the world, with the sky, with the sun. I'm not saying it's deep religious mysticism, but it's of the same order. Within our Christian tradition, we would think of ourselves being one with the whole of humanity in Christ by the power of the Spirit. So that unity is in us. We are one. Thomas Merton has a beautiful description of an experience that he had in Louisville, Kentucky in 1958. He was a Trappist monk, and he looked at he was in town to go to hospital actually, and he looked at all the people walking down the street and he said, you know, isn't it amazing? We're all one. And he had this deep sense of communion with all those people. And he said, you know, there are no strangers. Strangers are simply those with whom you haven't discovered the connection yet. Not that the connection's not there, but a human being is someone who participates in being, and we're all beings. We're all one. So that's mysticism, to know that, to experience that, to feel the unity with other human beings. It has to be part of the whole healing ministry, no matter what part one plays in it, to know that you are actually dealing with oneness here, that person who needs your care is as much a healing possibility for me as I am for that person. I might do something that's measurably healing, but I also must be open to the possibility that in the oneness that we share, if there's genuine love there, they can do something for me, even though they might be in a coma, even though they might be unconscious, even though they might be out of their mind in pain. Their presence can speak to me in ways that are subconscious, deep, and very, very real. The fourth definition I would offer is that of mystery. And this, in a sense, is, we should start here, but we'll draw a full circle on spirituality as living relationships, religion as spirituality incarnated, mysticism as knowing yourself to be one with the one, all in the midst of a mystery. Now, I describe mystery as inexhaustible intelligibility. When I got out of bed this morning and I looked in the mirror, believe it or not, staring back at me was inexhaustible intelligibility. I'm a question to myself. And one of the common experiences of human beings is, as you grow older, the more you know you don't know. When I was 20, I knew a heck of a lot more than I know now, and I'm about to become a pensioner. And the older I get, the less I know, but the more at ease I am in living in the sense of the inexhaustible intelligibility. It evokes wonder, it evokes awe. It also evokes respect for difference and other ways of perceiving what is real and what is good and what is beautiful and what is true. When you know everything, you've got a set way of perceiving the good and the true. And you draw a line in the sand, and you're either with me or against me. And you have arguments that are absolutely pointless and go nowhere. And you can even get violent. When you start to appreciate that you don't really know, and you approach other human beings as mystery, and yourself as a mystery in the presence of mystery, it's an invitation to listen, to hear, and to learn, to know that you're a pilgrim, that life is about journeying and constant searching. And the otherness tends to fade away because you don't even notice it. All you notice is companions along the way in relationship. It's an environment of love which begets life. So the reality is that we're all pilgrims, we're all journeyers, we're seekers. Nobody's got the answers definitively. And when you start to think that way and think in terms of mystery and people who are themselves mysteries going further and further into mystery, there's a sense of awe and wonder that actually takes away any sense of otherness and divisiveness, even as it preserves the individuality and the beauty of the community of these individuals who actually seek the mystery together.